Hello, welcome in. It is Sunday evening as I come in here for our collective week ahead card pulls. So we are looking at this second week in June, coming into a full moon week. So we have a full moon this week. So we've got the Queen of the Moon Oracle out to tune in for Wednesday's June 11th. Full moon in Sagittarius, going to be a fiery one. I'm going to talk a little bit about that in the energetic weather report. Also, to let you know, of course, that the full moon empowerment reading is available if you'd like to join us. We will be diving into that here at the top of the week for that part one, which will include all of the energetic weather around the full moon, a ritual for you to tune into if you'd like, as well as a full spread. Part two, your personal full moon card pulls. This is the strawberry moon. So we'll be talking this week a little bit about strawberries as a spiritual symbol and some analogies that come through there. That's always a fun one I like to share. And a couple of other energetic weather aspects that we'll talk about here in a few minutes. But first, we're going to dive into our cards. Of course, we are coming right back to the beautiful Ascension Tarot that we are moving through this month. Very excited. Really enjoyed the card pulls that came up for the personal month ahead readings for the empowerment pack. Got to see a whole bunch of them and looking forward to exploring that deck further. And of course, we're also going to pull an oracle message for the week to cap off our messages. Gateway of Light activation for that one. So let's get right into it. Let's bring the Rainbow Ray for upgrade and expansion coming in here. I've had so much this week with the rainbow carrying through our intuitive words this month. June, all rays lead to rising. Had some pretty cool experiences with some rainbow orbs showing up in a photograph and some other things. So maybe I'll share about that this week too. So let's get into our 5 cards. First, when we get to Wednesday, we'll pause to pull our Queen of the Moon Oracle card for that full moon in Sagittarius. So as we shuffle, we're setting the intention for the collective. Anyone who tunes in at any time to this reading, you are always invited to take what resonates and leave the rest. That's how it works with the collective reading. There's always someone there to pick it up. So we're going to tune in here to see how Monday begins the week with an overarching energy for our week ahead. See what wants to come forward. One card here for Monday to kick it off. Ooh, Temperance. Beautiful. I love that. With this moderation, balance, and flow, which surely in the collective is much needed at this time. So we will see where that major, significant tarot energy takes us this week, setting the tone for bringing things into equilibrium, maybe dipping our toe into something. Tuesday is going to represent a potential block or challenge this week. So what may come forward here as a potential block or challenge for us in these energies? Some softer energy arriving this week with some things, aspects moving into Cancer and stuff that we'll talk about here. So let's see what's coming up as a potential block or challenge in that. Page of Crystals, Page of Pentacles. So yeah, getting grounded is really going to be so important as we are moving through a lot of, especially in the collective, tumultuous weather and all kinds of extremes. So the Temperance energy coming in here along with this message from the earth element of getting grounded. So we'll talk about that as our potential block or challenge this week. And then Wednesday is going to be our full moon in Sagittarius. Depending on where you are in the world, times will vary, but let's tune in here with Wednesday's energy as a midweek blessing. What's being illuminated? Where do we have opportunities for release, shedding, letting go, forgiveness? What's coming in with this full moon in Sagittarius? Wednesday's card. Ace of Swords. Again, we had the Ace of Swords actually as our potential block or challenge last week. So now moving into a blessing. clarity, expression. There's a lot coming in about expressing yourself, about fifth chakra opening up to speak our truths, communication and connection in that regard. So let's just see what's coming in with that from the Queen of the Moon Oracle. So we're going to shuffle up here, asking for an overarching energy from the Queen of the Moon for this particular lunation. And this, of course, will be the first card in the full moon empowerment reading. So this is really going to, oh, look, this is our last one. This was the card for the new moon in Gemini, our last lunation that we talked about. That card came forward. We got a lot of jumpers here. All right, well, Sagittarius, you know, there's a lot of excitement. There's a lot of fire. There's a lot of adventure on the horizon, perhaps. So let's see what comes in with this full moon in Sagittarius. Queen of the Moon, overarching energy to go with our Ace of Swords. We love the Wisdom card. This card comes up quite often in our lunations. The 22 is bringing me right in. Archangel Sandalphon, Earth Star Chakra. All right, back. Cooper was barking and I had to pause for a moment. Another busy night here. We're in the home stretch. It's the last week of school, so the kids are coming and going and there's all kinds of things going on. So we may have another interruption, but such is life. That is what's bringing us right into this energy of this Wisdom card, which is bringing, like I mentioned, the Earth Star Chakra. 22 being the number for Archangel Sandalphon at the Earth Star Chakra, at the base of our feet, where we connect in with the earth, which, again, the irony of this card being on the water or in the sky or in some way, again, the message being about getting grounded and how that may be a challenge at this time, but also about cultivating wisdom in terms of, you know, bringing all the things in needed to navigate whatever we're moving through. So whether we're talking about this energy of we're in Gemini season, we have that air element coming forward, which is definitely impacting, you know, communication, thoughts, the mind. But now we have this fiery full moon in Sagittarius coming in. We have all these different aspects moving into watery Cancer. So, you know, finding our balance and equilibrium in the midst of all of that. So we will get into that. I will touch on it a little bit here. And then, of course, again, if you want to get into a more comprehensive reading, join me for that full moon empowerment reading. All right, we move into Thursday now. Thursday is how we are growing. So how are we growing this week? As we're moving through these energies, what is coming up for us as to how we are growing? Let's see. We have coming in here for Thursday. Ooh, the Magician's back. All right, so here we go. This is our second week of the month and with this deck. And so far we have 2 repeat cards from last week and they're both just moving down a spot. So the Magician was Wednesday's card last week for our midweek blessing. Now it's how we're growing. This was all about knowing that you have all the tools you need. So it doesn't matter if we're talking about air or fire or water or earth, which are all represented here. You have everything you need. Bringing with that your willingness to work those tools, to hone your craft, and most importantly, make mistakes, find out what works and what doesn't. Finally, we're going to pull our Friday card before our oracle message. So let's see what's coming in here for Friday. Friday's energy is wrapping up the week. Okay. Ooh, the moon. Perfect. I love it. Okay. So awesome. For Friday's energy, wrapping up the week, which again, these cards are just placeholders in our week. We're weaving a story here and we have, and it's so funny, the same thing last week, we're anchoring it in with cards. Now again, we have 2 majors, just like last week. We had the Empress and the Magician last week. Now we have Temperance and the Moon coming in here on either end of the spread. And it is a full moon week. So that is really, really consistent with that energy and a gorgeous card for us to explore. So we will get into that when we go through our messages. And now one last card for us to pull. Let's bring around another holder for us for our Oracle deck. This is going to be from the Gateway of Light Activation. One last card here to punctuate our messages to see what's coming forward to wrap up the week. And a final thought. Oh, that one's knocking. Ooh, this is the same card as last week, because I've already seen this card, and as everybody got one of these for the empowerment pack. So I'm just thinking, where have I seen this card? But this is the card that we got last week. So there's a lot of synchronicity flow continuation from last week. This is Pleiadian activation, coming together, harmony in the heavens, resolution. This is the card that I actually brought in at the beginning of the week last week, where we talked about Taurus. And of course we had Venus moving into Taurus last week. So interesting, again, that out of all of the cards in this deck, the same one comes up 2 weeks in a row. And we had 2 repeats as well from our tarot cards coming up. So there's a lot of, again, ample opportunities from the universe to let these lessons really land and integrate and be brought into harmony here. So there is this beautiful energy of things coming together, harmony in the heavens and resolution. And I think that, you know, the tricky part is that it might not look like that. The physical is always the last part. Hence our Page of Crystals bringing us the challenge, because what we see, this boat rocking, you know, this sense of these waters being really churned up, and there being a lot happening on the planet right now and in the collective, in the macrocosm, that there is this invitation to trust the rebalancing, the coming together and harmonization that's coming together to bring resolution for ascension. And that's really what we're tuning into here this month. So loving how that's all coming together. Okay, we are going to get into it with some energetic weather now and flow into our cards over on the Empowerment Sharecast. So if you're hearing this in one of my social media spaces, this is what we do. I have a free space over on the Marco Polo app where you are invited to join us for the month. We tune in every week. I offer a free personal card pull for you there, as well as other pick-a-cards and fun spiritual musings. So I'd love for you to join us. Check out the caption. Send me a message. If you're here in the Sharecast, let's get to it. All right, guys, much love. All right, let's get into a little bit of energetic weather for this week, beginning with Sunday here and now. As I'm recording this, I wanted to highlight for you June 8th, Mercury in Cancer. So Mercury, the planet of communication, moving into sensitive, soft Cancer, allowing us to speak with an open heart. This is a great time to connect with your heart and mind so that you can be clear about the messages that each wants to share. Practices like journaling could be ultra beneficial here through June 26th. So a lot of opportunity here this month to connect in through communication, and in this case through journaling, pen to paper, keypad, however it works for you. Also, you know, voice memos, whatever works for you in terms of getting out from your mind, heart, and bring it forward. So there's this open expression that's available right now from a really heart-centered place. So we've got that happening here, along with right here at the top of the week, one of the biggest cosmic events of the year. I've been teasing this, and I'm sure you've been seeing this elsewhere mentioned. Everybody's talking about it. Monday, June 9th, kicking us off, Jupiter enters Cancer. So Jupiter in Cancer indicates that the year ahead will have, again, softer, more sensitive tone. So we have this Cancerian energy coming in here now. We may find that we start wearing our hearts on our sleeves more often than not. We may also find ourselves feeling encouraged to stand up for those that we love and the issues that we feel are important to our hearts. Because Cancer has a very protective energy, which is allowing us to defend and create comfort for all that we hold dear. Cancer energy also brings our focus to our home and our family life. So with Jupiter here, which Jupiter expands everything, amplifies whatever it touches, we may find ourselves having deeper realizations on all matters of the heart and what brings us a feeling of security and comfort. So that is a big one that you can connect in with, that will certainly be bringing some beautiful, softer and more sensitive energies in here for upgrade and expansion. And then we have our lunation this week, June 11th, the Sagittarius full moon. So this Sagittarius full moon holds some fiery energy, as I mentioned, because it is connecting here with Eris, the goddess of discord and strife. So Eris is known as the sister of Mars and holds a fiery feminine power. And Eris helps us to stand up for ourselves and to rebel against all that makes us feel small. Known as the goddess of discord and strife, Eris can create chaos, but this is only because a greater harmony is possible. We're hearing that a lot, that word harmony. We have that coming in at the end of the week with our repeat Gateway of Light activation oracle message as well. So we have this energy coming in to create greater harmony. And then the full moon falling in the also fiery sign of Sagittarius may feel a bit dramatic and bold. So emotions may be running hot and we may feel something bubble over. So while we may be navigating some intense emotions, this full moon is a great reminder to find the adventure of everyday living. How can we bring more inspiration, more curiosity, and more fun to our everyday routines? So we'll be talking about that much more, as I said, in the full moon empowerment reading that you are invited to join me for. We'll be diving into that here at the top of the week for part 1 so that you can have all of the cosmic weather, the ritual, and the spread that we'll be doing ahead of the full moon. And then on the other side, we pull personal cards just for you for some further guidance. So consider joining me for that. For now, we're going to turn to our cards this week to see what is coming up with our tarot messages. So let's check it out. All right, let's get into our cards for the week, beginning with this beautiful major arcana card of Temperance, finding that moderation, flow, balance, and harmony. So we've definitely got a theme coming forward in several of our cards. In the energetic weather, as I was just discussing, harmony coming in, harmonization and balance. And so this is a beautiful depiction of temperance. So we take a look at the Ascension Tarot's take on this, and it's speaking to not wanting to go backwards into how you used to do things. You tread lightly into all decisions and choices. Tiptoe, slowly, confidently, making only decisions that will help you to grow in a more enlightened manner. You seek balance and harmony in life. Peace and light are now your way forward. Only those things that align with who you want to be and what feels right to you will be part of your circle. You are protected and guarded by your guides and ancestors. Keep faith in yourself, and everything that you want can and will be yours. So, of course, this card is coming up on Monday to set the tone for the week. It's June 9th. It is the big day, Jupiter in Cancer, this expansive energy coming in that's bringing us into that central point, right? We're talking about this energy of home and identity, and we're feeling our way forward into only those things that feel aligned, that feel in balance and flow with where we wish to go from here. So there's this, aspect of both extremes, and in the center is where we find our footing. Now, this is another card this month that's depicting the waterfall as well. I mentioned that last week, that we had a number of our cards and elements coming forward showing the waterfall, which is definitely, tuning us into that water element of the flow, the feels, the heart chakra, the emotions. And it is fierce. There's a lot, right? When you think about the rushing waters of a waterfall, there's a lot. And as we are navigating all of that, wherever you find yourself in that spectrum, opportunities to just take one step at a time with the tiptoe, with the dipping in, with just seeing how does it feel. So there is this, sense of we're using our feels to be the detector for whether or not something feels aligned, right? Whether or not it appears to be aligned, if we're feeling that balance and that harmony. So it's setting that tone for us as we step forward. We will, this is anchoring us in with the moon on the other side, which can be a bit of illusion and uncertainty. So it's okay to tread lightly, right? Just one little toe at a time. So let's see where that takes us now with our Tuesday energy. Okay, Tuesday is representing a potential block or challenge this week. And we talked about this in the card pull a bit. This earth energy, this sense of being safe, secure, on sure footing, especially as we're talking about all this water and all of this, things that are in flux and in flow. It can be difficult. We can feel challenged to get grounded, to feel safe, to feel secure, to feel that we have what we need. But we're being doubly assured by the magician 2 weeks in a row that in fact we do have everything that's needed. And the fact that, this is coming up as a potential block or challenge will suggest that, again, some conscious steps to get grounded could be called for here. So, tuning into the challenging aspects of the Page of Crystals, it's indicating that you have big goals and great ideas, but you lack the confidence to move forward. You think that you do not have what it takes to create your dreams. You are holding yourself back from your unlimited potential. Take it day by day. Learn what you need to learn to be successful. So there's a little bit of a conflict here, because on one hand, we're hearing messages of like, you have what you need, the confidence, the charisma, you have the ideas and the fire. And then we're hearing, you have all these ideas and goals, but you don't have confidence. You don't feel empowered to step into it. And so I think that what I'm feeling there is, and sticking with our theme this month with all rays lead to rising, the idea that a fragment of you, an aspect of you, is still running an old loop, an old story that you're not good enough, right? The not good enough isms, or the comparisonitis to what others have going on, or thinking that we don't have enough pentacles, we don't have enough experience, wisdom, we don't have certain tools that are needed in order to accomplish something. Those are old stories and it feels like a younger aspect of us. So this is the page. So it represents the youngest personalities and aspects of the tarot, novice energy. So, it can be that a younger version of us maybe, is still playing an old story from an experience that took place that has us feeling disempowered, has us feeling in some way that we don't have what it takes. And there's sort of this like internal grappling going on there. And so I think that it's important to hold space for that aspect of ourselves, like a child, like an aspect of understanding that, there can be layers of insecurity or, just feeling unsure about whether or not we have what it takes. And yet there's an aspect of you who absolutely is been ready for this next step. And so how do we create that bridge? How do we create that balance between those aspects is what I'm feeling. And so, once again, just like the dipping a toe, taking one step at a time. The pentacles, crystals, are the slowest moving suit of the tarot. So a page is presenting like one coin, one seed, one token, one crystal ball here that is moving in the direction of your dreams, of your wishes, because of what I see here, almost like a wishing well or something, I'm feeling this sense of like, putting one in at a time. And so there's a sense of joyous optimism I'm actually feeling with those beautiful yellow tulips, because your inner child just wants to play, just wants to feel free to express their most authentic self, but maybe has been feeling limited in some way. And so there's a freeing going on here. And this is where I think this full moon energy could really help transmute any of those limiting beliefs and ideas and worries and concerns to where we want to change this. We're going to alchemize, especially with our double magician energy coming in so far this month, to say that, yes, one bit at a time, you are strategically putting into motion your goals and your dreams. But in order to be successful, you need to stay focused and aligned with your purpose. So create well thought out plans to lay that solid foundation for your future. Learn new skills, bring your project to life, manifest your dreams into reality. So that one step, that dipping the toe in it, could be, signing up for the class, the workshop, crossing that one step off of your to-do list, so that you get the ball rolling. You create momentum in this beautiful full moon energy, which is definitely creating some fire and some heat, as we discussed. So, there is this energy of following your joy. I'm wanting to bring in the Bob Marley joy energy for that. Definitely has an inner child flair, and I'm just really feeling that connection with the yellow joy, which, as I say, when we talk about color and what color has to teach us, yellow, the full spectrum of yellow in its lowest vibration looks like worry, anxiety, fear, lack, to its highest vibration, joy, courage, this sense of enough, that sun, that central sun, the solar plexus of shining and standing in your power. So again, temperance, bringing us that spectrum of extremes that on one end, there is fear, worry, anxiety, lack. And on the other end, we have that joy, bravery, that sun, that passion for how we wish to shine into the world. And so it's one step in the direction of our joy. Just like Temperance said, we're going forward. We're talking about what we are creating here and now and into the future. What has passed has passed. It has served. It has informed. We take the best. We leave the rest. So I think there's some, energy coming in here with the inner child, with all this Cancerian energy that we're talking about coming in this week too. And again, communication and amplification of those energies and expansion into these new energies. Journaling again is coming up, as well as working with this full moon. So this is going to be an incredibly powerful full moon for you to tune into in whatever way works for you. And that's where I'm inviting you to come along, because we will have a ritual. We will have a spread that you can tune into to help you to really utilize this fiery energy and momentum moving forward. So let's get into it by taking a look at Full Moon Wednesday's cards coming right up. All right, Wednesday is our midweek blessing. We have a repeat coming in here. This was last week's challenge. Now it's a blessing coming in with the full moon in Sagittarius. So we also have our Queen of the Moon Oracle message that we'll take a peek at next, the card of wisdom. So we have the Ace of Swords, which is amplifying the one energy. If you remember last week, we had all low numbers. Everything were 2s and 1s and 3s. Here we have the 1 and the double 2 coming in here. Ace of Swords and the energy of wisdom. So as a midweek blessing, Ace of Swords coming in with clarity. So it's saying you are experiencing a breakthrough in clarity and spiritual awareness. A powerful pull of energy is taking you down a path where strength is needed to be triumphant. The heart, head, and soul must be aligned in order for this new idea, new creative idea, or vision to take shape. Seek out the truth to create justice in the situation in front of you. Be prepared for battle. Lead from your heart, but have clarity in mind. So I'm losing count. That's at least 3 separate references of aligning head and heart. And we're bringing into that your spirit, right? Really just kind of heading it all up is the spirit. This temperance energy representing that for us, the spirit. At the center of head and heart is your higher self, your wise self. And so beautiful, because that sword coming in here, and it's really, this is new energy that's coming in. We see this hand that's offering and bringing in this upright sword, which is giving us clarity of mind, clarity of expression. So we are thinking, speaking, and feeling along with that, you know, through the spirit, through this element of water that's coming in on both ends of our spread this week, and all this Cancerian energy, everything that we've been talking about, is allowing us to feel it, heal it, and then reveal it. You know, what is coming up next? What is going to be my unique expression in the world? And I'm getting a breakthrough in clarity and my spiritual awareness. So there's this beautiful energy that's coming in to bring us down a new path. And remember, last week we had all that path energy. We ended with the 2 of Swords, kind of feeling like, you know, this way or that way, where to from here? And I'm not sure, because we were in this state of sort of the planning and the preparation. So this full moon is bringing in the potential for illumination and expansive clarity. All while, yes, there's the heat. You know, we talked about the fiery aspects of this full moon. And so the communication is going to be so important, clear communication, and, you know, having an awareness of that potential of using that sword for truth and clarity, but not harshly, like the double-edged aspects of cutting or, you know, doing no harm. So there's this sense of just, I'm standing in my truth, speaking my truth. And here it is, just plainly for you to take or leave, because this is about my path. This is about where I'm headed, and my trust in knowing that when I lead with that, I'm sending out that call, that beacon to all who feel aligned with that, and they will come, you know? So it just begins with that first step, that dipping of the toe, this sense of saying the thing, or, you know, having the thought and then taking inspired action, which is what's going to come on the other side here when we get back with that magician again. So before we do that, let's take a look at our Queen of the Moon message that's coming in with this full moon as well. All right, so getting a little preview at the Queen of the Moon oracle energy that will kick off the full moon empowerment reading I'll be diving into this week. We have a frequent flyer, the wisdom card, number 22, bringing in, I'm picking up on these energies of Archangel Sandalphon, the Earth Star chakra, getting grounded. Also speaking to music, I have playing here some grounding energy. I chose a track here that's playing Mother Earth's Love, and it's playing at 432 hertz for grounding your energy to feel safe, centered, and peaceful. Just playing in the background, just infusing it in. I got a recommendation last week to really explore binaural beats. I've heard it many times, but I've never tried it. So I've been trying during the day to play some binaural beats that are more for productivity and for clarity of mind, and in the evening for relaxation and for all types of different intentions. I'm just getting a little nod here to the healing vibrations, the frequency of music as something that we can bring in that actually helps us to expand the mind and to open up to receive the wisdom that's coming in, that's being made available to us in the quantum now, that we can reach out. There's a sense of needing, you know, Yes, we have this leg up, this boost that we stand on the top of those books. We often talk about that as representing, the knowledge that has been made available to us over time through history, recognizing that, over the course of time, we have some very wise people that have starred in history and some not so wise. So there's plenty of examples from which to learn, and we're standing on that. And yet from here on, it's our path, right, to blaze. It's our path to taking the knowledge and wisdom. And yes, we will get into differentiating between the two when we dive into this full moon reading, but just kind of touching into the mantra affirmation with this card. It says, I use my knowledge and experience to make wise decisions. And this is what I was saying about, letting the past inform us, taking the best, leaving the rest, allowing ourselves to learn from that which has come to pass, the good, the bad, the ugly, wherever we find ourselves on that path. So, wisdom is more than mere knowledge. There may be something that you aren't seeing and need to research more thoroughly. Wisdom is gathered, but it takes time. Learn from your experience. You might wish to ask the opinion of a wise mentor if you're uncertain. So we're tuning into that frequency. And so even though what we're standing on seems to be a little foggy, a little fuzzy, a little misty, because we just don't know where to from here, this is where several of the energies this week are inviting us to just dip a toe in, to step lightly, but with intention. And, again, with the connection between head and heart. So that's where we'll leave it with this Queen of the Moon Oracle, and take it from there in the empowerment reading for the full moon. All right, let's take a look now at Thursday's energy. All right, Thursday, how are we growing? As we were just talking about that with the mantra, and again, this willingness to use these tools to acknowledge that we have all of this to work with, and it primarily requires our willingness to do it, right? To take that step. So we're revisiting this. We already had the Magician last week. And when this happens, we pay attention. We have 3 cards reappearing from last week. The Ace of Swords, the Magician, both ones, by the way, and our Gateway of Light activation card for Pleiadian activation. 3 cards repeating this week from last week. So, like I said, it's an alert for us to pay attention to what's coming through. So the Magician is bringing in this message, reminding you, helping you to recollect that you were gifted before birth in your celestial home, having been given everything that you need to manifest all that you desire. So with your feet grounded into the earth and your crown chakra into the higher dimensions, you are flowing with guidance from the universe. Bring all your ideas into your reality and manifest your dreams. Just do it. I'm kidding. Just do it. Yeah, I know. It's so simple. But it really is cool that we're seeing this card again and having this opportunity to tune into what is available to us. And it's everything that we need. And, again, sometimes it is just about a slight shift in our perspective to see things from just an alternative angle. How can I possibly have everything I need when it requires, an exorbitant amount of money and I don't have the pentacles, So again, we tend to look at it from that very logical, very linear, very, that aspect, very 3D perspective, and it boxes us in. So here we're invited to expand and pull that energy up from the earth through getting grounded and coming out the crown with this sense of expansion into the cosmos. So I love this because we're growing and we're talking about putting just, tiptoe into it, just one toe at a time. So it's coming up again because it's a gentle energy that's helping us to navigate. So it's unfolding. It's unfolding as we go. So I think it's, our how are we growing is going to be for the month at least, not just a week, right? So it's one step at a time, one trick at a time as we're working on making this magic. So let's take a look now at Friday's card, another major arcana coming right up. All right, Friday is bringing in our third major arcana card. Remember, major arcana this is representing the big secrets, the significant stops along our fool's journey. And we've got 3 of them this week. So it's a listen up, pay attention. Jupiter is in Cancer, and we are amplifying this energy. We are expanding this energy of the moon. So again, we connect back to Wednesday's full moon in Sagittarius. So it says, connect to your intuition and regain balance, once again, balance and harmony, where it is needed. The subconscious mind has the answers that you seek, but beware of the illusions that surround it. Figure out what is right for you. The light side and night side present itself in a way that makes you believe in the falsity of it. Get grounded. Can we hear that one more time? Get grounded. Dance with your energy and find sanctuary in your magical abilities. Flow with the energy of the lunar cycles. Yeah, so we're here. It's a full moon, which typically is about what is being illuminated, what is coming into fullness, wholeness, completion, ending of one cycle, beginning of a new one. So therefore, if we're in flow with that, then we're talking about what are we releasing? What are we shedding? What is ending? What are we forgiving? What are we letting go of? Because on the other side, then we set some intentions for the new, so that in 2 weeks, when we have the new moon in Cancer, we're talking about what we wish to bring into our lives, what intentions we are setting. And, with that new moon in Cancer, we will also be having ahead of that the solstice. So the wheel turns and it will be summer or winter, depending on where you are in the world. And Cancer season will arrive. So that's going to bring in all that fresh energy that's going to shift things again. And so what we're going to have is I will be offering my solstice readings, which are some of my favorite seasonal readings of the year, where we check in just for you for either summer or winter, your choice. And again, it is about kind of reflecting on where we've come from, what brought us here through the prior season, and then planting some seeds of intention for this next season ahead, summer or winter. So that is available. It is already up on my link, the one that I'll share here, where you can also find this week's full moon empowerment reading. The solstice readings are there. And I will be getting that solstice altar set up here in the next week or so. I'm going to be asking my little Elena Joy to help me, like she did last year, to set the summer solstice altar here. I love to infuse the inner child and joy and play. So she finishes school this week, so I'm expecting that we'll be getting that going, and then they will be done in the order that they're booked. So if you want to snag one now, I'll be starting to do those in the coming weeks, and I will have those available through June. So just giving you a little early preview about that since we were onto it. But in getting into the flow and the rhythm of the lunar cycles, then we're talking about maximizing this week for its opportunity for release and letting go, forgiving and shedding, and then we are moving toward the new intentions and seeds we're planting for the new on the other side. So Friday bringing us sort of wrapping all of that up with, again, the night side and the light side, which we're seeing here in several different ways. You can see we have the light side and the night side, and here we have the light side and the night side that's being depicted through, light and dark, yin and yang, all these different aspects of duality, which bring us toward greater balance, greater equilibrium, greater flow, and harmony. Speaking of harmony, let's look at our final card for this week. Once again, the Pleiadian activation message. So here we have our final card for this week. That is, again, one of our repeats. This is the same Gateway of Ascension message that came up last week. So that is quite significant. So I'm just going to highlight, since I already shared all of this message with you from the Gateway of Light activation. This is the Pleiadian activation. So just again, for information purposes, the Pleiades, also known as the Seven Sisters, is an open star cluster found in the northwest of the constellation Taurus. And so this is connecting us into coming together in peace and in harmony. You are blessed to receive this gateway, for it is a powerful message of assurance that whatever uncomfortable energy you are experiencing right now will soon be washed away. The Pleiadians are beings who live in complete honor of their planets and their people. They acknowledge that in seeing and connecting with one another, they have an opportunity to see and experience the divine. They also know the consequences of disrespecting others. It's for this reason that this is no longer possible for them. If you are being challenged by loved ones now, aim to shift the dynamics of this relationship through a loving approach. The lesson you are facing at this time is an opportunity to heal old wounds and operate from a higher state of being. Yeah, I feel a lot of collective energy here. And of course, macro to micro, it starts with you. It starts in the heart. It starts in the home. It starts in your community. And then it ripples out. So, this is being underscored as it came up last week, and it's coming up here again, that coming together, harmony in the heavens, resolution. And again, like it says, and like I mentioned earlier with this week's challenge being the Page of Crystals, it might not look like that. It definitely doesn't look like that when you open up your phone or your news feed or turn on your television, right? That is not what you see. It doesn't compute. It's not matching. So it's as within, so without. So it starts with you. It starts with you creating that magic, that intention, that balance, harmony, and flow, that heart-centered consciousness in your life. So, perhaps it's being underscored because we really have an opportunity to step into that energy and to emanate that. And again, trusting that like a beacon in thinking about that Ace of Swords, hopping over from a challenge last week, the block last week, to now our midweek blessing that correlates with this fiery full moon in Sagittarius. Through our words, through our thoughts, through our expressions, we have an opportunity to really amplify this Pleiadian activation. So let's roll with that, see where it takes us this week, just setting a few simple, dipping your toe in it, intentions for how you're going to amplify that Pleiadian activation in your life. It could be simply, paying it forward, a random act of kindness, a kind word, especially again with that sword coming through with communication, through our words, through our expression and our communications. Okay, guys, thank you so much. If you would like a personal card pull this week, please feel free to reach out. I'll be doing those on the other side of the full moon reading, which I'll be kicking off here at the top of the week. So if you're interested in a personal card pull or any of the comprehensive offerings, please feel free to reach out to me and check the link I'll be sharing here for all the latest options. Sending you all much love, many blessings. We'll talk soon.